Scott, we're back, buddy. We're going to be checking out Prime Matter. We'll see how this goes. This is Koch Media putting out their new label, the new publishing division, Prime Matter. We'll see what we get to take a look at today. Kingdom Come Deliverance now coming on Switch under this label. Payday 3. You know, so I'm curious to see what is in store for us this afternoon.
Yeah, those are some established pieces of media now, so this is no small time thing.
No, for sure, right?
But I'm curious as to what it means going forward.
I don't know. Time will tell here in a second. We only got a minute left, and then we'll be going live again with Koch Media Prime Matter. Anxious to see it. Do you think we'll get a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2?
Oh, that would be very interesting to see. There was a lot of feedback given from the first one.
Yeah.
Room for improvement. And,
I think so.
I wonder if the sales would justify it, but if it's going to Switch, that makes me believe that it could very well get a sequel.
Dude, I don't know how well it's going to run on Switch, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, Apex was...
oh, it was awful. I'm not even going to lie about that one. Rough is an understatement. It's nice to see it's there, but that is like your last way you ever want to play Apex. If you don't have another means of playing it, then yeah, pick it up there. But dude, that was brutal to play Apex over there. You can't see anything. That's the problem, right?
Especially when Fortnite runs so smoothly on it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's hard to compete with that.
Hello there, guys. My name is Admin, and welcome. Today, I have 3 main tasks. The first one is to introduce you to Koch Media's brand new premium gaming label. Number 2 is to take a deep dive into some of the games coming to that label. And finally, number 3 is to show you what the new label will be getting up to in the streaming world. I want to welcome streamers who are co-streaming this today. Hello. Some of you guys are guys who I have looked up to and watched for many years. And speaking of people who I've looked up to for many years,
yeah, I don't think she's talking about us, but yeah.
I'm so proud to introduce Jeff Keighley, who will be helping me co-host us through this entire list of games.
Oh, Jeff Keighley, does that guy ever sleep or what?
I don't think so.
It is so great to be
Back
here
again.
with you for the first ever live stream from Prime Matter. I was honored yesterday to reveal the label to the world at the Summer Game Fest.
Maybe, right? Maybe.
Kickoff event, and wow, you've got a lot of games there in that sizzle, over a dozen games. So I know today...
Looks like the Summer Games Fest had a makeup guy assigned to him now.
Talk to a lot of the developers. But for those of you that might have missed it yesterday or just want to see it again, let's kick things off with a look at that announcement sizzle reel.
That was a cool sizzle reel, dude. It brought the hype.
Oh yeah,
that's really loud though. Holy!
Sometimes I ask myself what it all means. Let's begin.
Yes.
There's Kingdom Come Deliverance. Payday 3.
War banner.
You're right. Okay. I find it a little weird that we're seeing the exact same trailers yesterday.
Is that who you are?
My purpose makes me who I am.
Was that the Adam Jensen sound-alike character?
Yeah, absolutely was.
Oh, that's cool. Glad to see that guy still got a place.
Damn right.
I don't know if we'll see a Deus Ex again.
Oh, I know. That's a heartbreak, man. I'd love to see it again, but yeah, I don't know if we will either. I think we're going to be back and forth on the audio all of that in here. Voiced by Optimus Prime.
Me.
Yeah, exactly.
and counting. And that's just the start for Prime Matter. But before we get into these incredible games, what I like to call the juicy bits, I want to talk to you about what Prime Matter is and who we are. Prime Matter is the new premium gaming label of Koch Media. It dedicates itself to delivering a range of immersive and diverse games from amazing development talent all around the globe. It highlights the varied influences of global studios and their different approaches to game making. The new label will lead through creativity and expression with games that enthrall players with larger-than-life storytelling, create incredible moments, and above all, they're fun. The team behind Prime Matter is a melting pot of incredible talent, led by seasoned industry veterans and complemented by a young, fresh, dynamic team of multicultural gaming experts. The team behind our gamers
coming up is Painkiller,
working with such a wide range of passionate developers producing games together by gamers for gamers. And that being said, for all you keen-eyed individuals out there, you would have seen that one game was actually missing in our 12-game lineup for Prime Matter during the video. That is a game that comes from the Embracer family itself. Jeff got to sit down with Todd Hollinshead and talk all about Painkiller.
Here you go, Scott. We were talking about this morning, buddy.
You saw the news yesterday.
Yeah,
yes, there's a new Painkiller coming,
No
and
more.
Todd is joining me now to maybe give us a few more details. I know this is kind of a fresh project for the team at Saber, and you guys, first of all, I love that you and Tim Willits are there, continuing to build out Saber. And Painkiller was a franchise. You and I are both OG. We remember it was it probably 15 years ago at this point?
Yeah, it's been a while. Closer to 2 decades than 1.
My God. All right. Well, but it's one of those classic games. Let me ask you, from a Prime Matter perspective, you've been in the industry like me all those years, and we remember that game. Why was this a franchise that you guys wanted to sort of bring back?
Well, Painkiller, when I played it back in the early 2000s, this is a game
Dude,
that
2004 it launched.
It was dark, a little twisted, intense, cool guns. These are the things that, kind of hit the nail on the head of what appeals to me in a video game, both as, as a fan and then also as a publisher at Saber. So, we're hoping to capture those same sort of elements and bring those into the new game.
Yeah, you guys are certainly masters of doing shooters from all your time at id, and Painkiller does have a lot of that DNA of fast-paced action with a little bit of a twist to it. And
it's
the fact
software,
you guys
man.
are working with Prime Matter is also exciting.
That's all I need to
brand
hear.
new publisher, brand new label.
Yeah, it's definitely under
What do
good
you think
hands,
of
right? I would
the fact
think.
that they're doing this label.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
it's such a diverse lineup of companies and partners around it. I know you guys work with a lot of publishers, but it's pretty exciting to see a new label announced. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't. And, I think that within the Embracer group, it's just a business that is growing. We've got great leadership at the top. And so Koch Media is, wanting to expand their publishing.
Everybody's
And I
different,
think
eh?
that,
Koch,
the
Koch.
name they chose, Prime Matter.
I think just where you're from.
It's sort of like the primordial soup of putting together stuff from
In its
nothing. So,
native German,
it kind
I
of
believe
makes
it's
me think of
Koch.
this is what we
Right.
do when we make video games. You sort of start with Pixel 0, and then at the end of the day, you make a game. So I feel like that, that kind of resonates with hopefully the type of experiences that we're going to be providing, not just within Prime Matter and working with them between Saber.
Painkiller sounds like it's so far away still.
Across the Embracer group as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they have a lot of games in development, but the fact that you are bringing back Painkiller is really exciting. And I know, fans, of course, want to know a little bit about, what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of details about it, but you're kind of in the early stages of development now on this.
Yeah, super early, and
I'm not surprised. Are you?
Anything that I would share, I'd probably get
No.
assassinated for back
Something
home once
from
they got
back
back to the
then, it's not
developer,
like
because,
they're gonna
all these,
reuse
the
much,
first
right?
stuff
Oh,
that comes out almost
yeah,
always
they're not gonna
is
reuse
sort of
anything.
Every
moved
asset's
on
going
and
to be
changed.
remade.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep the lid on the details until we have something that's going to be really awesome to show.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
they're still
well,
in
we'll be
planning
waiting
stages.
for it, and we know with you involved, it's going to be something very special.
We'll see what
fast-paced action. I have no
Clobrill
doubt. So
leaks on
Painkiller
Twitter, but
coming soon.
until then,
Team at Saber, published by Prime Matter. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Jeff.
I really can't wait to hear more about Painkiller and the fact that Todd and Tim and the team at Saber are working on it. I think we're going to get something pretty special when they are ready to share more. So, exciting stuff in that sizzle reel, Painkiller, Payday, but I know there's a lot.
I want to know more
we're gonna
about
talk
Payday
about
3
today as well, right, Opal?
Actually, Prime Matter has 12 games under development right at this minute.
They're working on 12
We're
games
so
already.
excited to show you guys what us and the developers have been up to. However, before you see some of the content that we show you today, I do have to make it clear that some of this is pre-alpha, alpha, high-level concept, and some of it is about to release right around the corner. So please keep that in mind when you're viewing today's show. That being said, how do you guys feel about a psychedelic third-person survival horror game set on what it means to go on a journey about self-enlightenment and what happens when it all goes wrong?
got my attention.
I
Damn,
want
I'm
to
out.
speak with the developers of The Chant, work in progress
The
title,
Chant.
about their game and who they are.
Our game is about a group of people who go to a spiritual retreat to seek
Brass
enlightenment, and they basically get a little more than they bargained for. And your character
Sounds
has
like
to
Alan
deal
Wake,
with
though.
her own personal issues as well as the cosmic terrors that become awakened.
Cool. So, what type of genre is this game?
And it's a bit hard to pin down with the with all the different influences and styles of gameplay, but I'd say we're probably a survival action horror game.
Okay. Cool. And what was the thinking behind that genre? Is it something that you guys like, or is it just it came left field? What's your decision behind that?
Personally, we always wanted to make a horror game. A big part of our core team have a background in third-person sandbox games, and we really wanted to combine,
gonna see a
action
trailer?
mechanics,
Anything?
deep storytelling, and we felt that the horror genre was a really exciting.
Yeah, is this
space
off the
to,
drawing board
to
yet?
take that background and play around with.
So, kind of sticking with the horror genre, why did you decide to go with that theme? It's not really like normally what you would see, this whole spiritual awakening thing. So what was the idea behind that?
We thought it was just kind of an interesting territory to explore. There is, there's a lot of influence from that with like folk horror of the 70s and giallo horror and so forth that really inspired
Is that what he
us
said?
More from a film standpoint.
Yeah,
And,
I'm not
taking
sure what
that
that
kind of
means.
aesthetic.
I've never heard of
something
that
was
before.
Very sensational, very colorful.
I'm not a horror guy either,
and,
though,
mixing
but-
it in with kind of more action-oriented and exploratory game mechanics.
When he said
we felt
cosmic
was-
horrors,
was-
it made me
was
think
a fresh take on the horror space.
Lovecraft.
So kind of speaking
Yeah.
about your inspirations and stuff, what video games, real life media has inspired you to create this title?
Well, going way back when Resident Evil 2 is one of my
Classics.
favorite games of all time. Alone in the Dark, Eternal Darkness. So a lot of games are
those.
very inspirational
Man,
to
oh,
us.
man.
Our game actually started off as a game with fixed camera angles and so forth, and then we over the course of development. Just especially really focusing on bringing more of an action element to it. We've since switched to an over-the-shoulder camera and haven't looked back.
So kind of talking about changes and what you guys are doing on the development side, how close is the game to like the original concept? I understand you guys are still developing, the game's quite far out, but from your original concept to where the game is now, how much has that differed?
The core story and I'd say the aesthetic and the themes, those all remain intact. I'd say our gameplay, as our team size grew, we added deeper mechanics. I'd say more action to the game. Our game actually has a fair amount of combat in it, especially on the melee side. Those were things that weren't too prevalent
Single player?
in our original
Scott or
concept.
multiplayer?
And a lot of those things are just kind of based on, you know, we're a very small team at first.
Gives me hope for a second player though. Usually
co-op,
every new person that joins brings something new to the mix. So I'd say on that end, the game has evolved in you know, scope and depth of gameplay.
Awesome. Kind of sticking on that point of, you know, you got a small team, there's a lot of challenges that comes with that. What was the hardest part of making the game so far?
The hardest part was probably trying to make a game that you know, has, you know, more realistic production values, because that's where our background comes from, on a smaller scale and budget. So for us, we had to be very strategic, utilizing Unreal. We wouldn't have been able to build this game without utilizing an engine like Unreal. Previously, we had worked on more proprietary technology. And that's also great because, you know, new people that join the team can get up and running on the engine quite quickly. In addition to that, we've been using photogrammetry from the start for both our environments. All of our characters are also scanned actors, and we're using, you know, also tapping into a lot of what's going on in our city. Vancouver has a pretty big film industry, so really tapping into the film and the effects industry and tapping into that area of expertise to, you know, to just kind of try to do things as efficiently as possible.
So you've mentioned like experience in the past and also kind of how rich Vancouver is. How much does that come in handy when you're working on the game?
Oh, it's been extremely beneficial. Vancouver, you know, is home to a lot of AAA studios. A large portion of us work together at Rockstar and United Front Games, and we also have people who have worked at the Coalition and EA, as well as some smaller independent studios as well. And in addition to that, you know, having the film industry here, where we can utilize, you know, local talent. We're working with union actors. We're scanning actors as well that we're using for our characters, and we're actually currently auditioning a couple remaining characters for the game, and as well as doing the finishing touches on our new motion capture studio. So we're going to be doing a full cinematics push over the coming months. That's a really exciting place to be right now.
Awesome. Sounds great. In terms of exciting things, when it comes to this game, what are you most proud of at the minute where you are?
I think the thing I'm the most proud of is just what a small focused team can do when they're all, you know, sharing the same goal and vision.
Just an interview, Scott? Do you think we get a little teaser trailer, because it sounds like it's still super early in development?
But yeah, it sounded like he kind of hinted really, that they're building a cinematic trailer at the moment, but I don't know
work for the team size we have.
I don't think we'll see anything. I think it's just an interview.
It's really exciting to be working on a smaller team.
This is making me miss conducting interviews, I have to say.
You know, you're working with everyone on the team day to day.
Yeah,
got to get back there.
I imagine that is
slowly.
We're almost different to probably what some of you used to coming from those massive studios. So finally, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch, and also, you know, being featured on their brand new label?
It's truly an exciting place to be. We've been kind of pushing our game as far as we could, and this partnership is really helping to provide more reach.
So it's a partnership with Koch Media, but yet it's still under the Prime Matter.
Most importantly, also just having a partnership
banner? Like, does that make sense?
Feedback and helping to really expand and
it sounds like their position as a production.
We've already received a lot of feedback on the title, and being a small team, we're often in our own little echo chamber, and in that case, you know, even in a short period of time, we've been able to act on a lot of the feedback. And
Brass Token, this guy here, he's
thank you so much
the
for your time.
publisher, right, or the developer,
and find out a little bit more about what you guys are going to be
Prime Matter publishing the game under the Koch Media label.
Finally get their their hands on the content.
It just doesn't seem like it's something that normally happens, right? At least not that I've seen in the past.
From psychedelic horrors to internet rumors, our next developer created the huge open world of Bohemia and took us on an adventure through the Holy Roman Empire. However, there have been some leaks that this action RPG may have a home on the Switch. Opal sat down with Warhorse Studios to try and get to the bottom of this.
Kingdom Come
Deliverance on the Switch. That is quite some news.
Yes, that's true. Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And as you said, it's about gamers, devs, and games. In our case, or in this case, actually gamers play an integral part in the story.
What do you mean?
Well, some kind of confusion happened in the end of last year. We Warhorse Studios were preparing the release of the Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition on PlayStation and Xbox, but someone most likely ticked the wrong box in Japan, and it looked like it's going to be released on Switch as well. Of course, by that time, there was nothing existing like that. We were not even thinking about the possibility that Kingdom Come Deliverance could go on the Switch. However, Nintendo Japan took this information, some Japanese media, and then the snowball started rolling. All of a sudden, it was the talk of the day. Kingdom Come Deliverance is releasing on the Switch. But as I said, nothing like that was planned at all, and we didn't even think about that. Now, a few months back, and we think it was still somehow cursing around in the Nintendo database, Nintendo of Spain posted a picture on Twitter where they had different pictures of
Dude, a mistake started this game for the Switch.
Already existing open world games.
They were obligated
on
to
Nintendo Store. And if you clicked on the picture, actually, you couldn't.
Media.
There was nothing like Kingdom Come Deliverance. Of course not, because, as I said, nothing like that is existing. However, again, it created confusion. People were talking about it again, like, okay, so is it coming? Is it not coming? But for us, actually, and as I said, we didn't think about that until that time. For us, we started to think. There's a lot of interest, there's a lot of buzz. People are actually talking about us, reaching out to us, like they seem to want Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Nintendo Switch. So we started to think. And since we are already in the Koch Media family, or the Embracer family, and there's a lot of talented studios, so is Saber Interactive, and who but them would be actually capable of bringing the Kingdom Come Deliverance version on the Switch. So we sat together, and now we are here talking about the Nintendo Switch version on Kingdom Come.
So what you're saying is that a community of gamers made this happen?
More or less, yes. The community feedback we got, of course, was a big drive for this entire project. But this comes from a background. So
we have to mobilize. We got to bring Splinter Cell back.
Yeah, that's right. We just talk about it enough. We can wish it to happen.
Deliverance.
Gamers
so
unite!
Try to be very close to them and working together with them, and even coming up with crazy ideas together with them. So, for instance, the Savior Schnapps, our own liquor we created later, was actually a community idea. We have our own beer brand. We recently released a blue brick set, like a building set for Kingdom Come Deliverance buildings. And now one of the latest projects is the Kingdom Come Deliverance soap bar, which should give you the real medieval smell.
Of horse manure and chickens.
It actually medieval smells actually pretty well, and we are coming up with crazy stuff like that all the time. Our next new merchandise project is
Smells like the plague.
Board game kind of. So Farkle, for those who don't know, that's like this Kingdom Come Deliverance minigame, a dice minigame you can play in the game. And now with Griffon Studios, we are coming up with a boxed version you can get. And
man, they really expanded a lot further than I expected.
Against your friends or against your family or whatever. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. But generally, if you're interested in these kind of stuff, just check the Warhorse Studios social media accounts. You get all the information you need there.
Ooh, my favorite. Soapy hot news. Speaking of soapy hot news, how do you
that was awkward,
about
dude.
Being under the new label Prime Magic?
Man,
it's a huge honor, of course. We were working together with.
They clearly cut him off.
In 2019, we then even became part of the entire Embracer family.
It's funny what you notice.
And now,
as somebody who creates videos, you can. I notice every jump,
be there
every
when
cut.
There's a new label being created.
Just not what we do,
that is
right?
a big thing for us.
Yeah.
and especially if you consider that we come there as an established partner.
That's why
already,
I like to
that
sit
is really cool,
very
and we are
still.
looking forward to a bright future.
Thank you very much, Toby.
Final
We
Form is coming up
cannot
next.
See what Warhorse has got cooking.
Is there not a trailer
However,
or anything?
Until that time, Toby, goodbye.
So are we. Thank you very much, and see you.
From
Ah,
internet
man.
rumors back to reality. We will have
I'm
more
really
on
curious to see how
Kingdom
well that
Come
runs on the
Deliverance
Switch,
for
Scott.
as we get it.
Yeah,
let's move
make
from
sure the
RPGs
render
to
distance isn't
FPS games.
quartered or
Final
something.
Form,
Ugh.
which is a working title, is an action-packed sci-fi adventure where you play the role of a humanoid avatar of a sentient spaceship sent on a mission to the edge of the known universe to battle an unstoppable plague. The game is still a long ways from completion, but here's a very quick peek at what's in store.
Dude, what is that?
Oh. Yeah, the ball form is coming back. Haven't seen that since Metroid.
Yeah. Dude, I can't believe it. Well, how has no one else used that? Final Form. That was cool.
Yeah, I like the set pieces. I enjoy nice sci-fi kind of shooter.
We are Raycon Games, and what you have just seen is the first glimpse of our upcoming game codenamed Final Form.
Final Form is an action-packed, epic sci-fi FPS in which you are a female-formed humanoid machine on a space mission with no return.
At the heart of the game is a mystery and alien worlds to explore, but also an adrenaline-fueled combat. In Final Form, it's all about the freedom and power of movement.
Dude, that
being
looks
a
cool.
machine unrestrained by
It
human
like
weaknesses.
warps into that ball and bounces back
There are
out.
numerous abilities and gadgets that come with your robotic body, so you can give yourself away to the fantasy of becoming an unstoppable cybernetic goddess blazing away in a spectacular ballet of destruction.
So, I heard him say
Raycon
rip
is
and
located
tear.
in Warsaw, Poland, with additional team members located all over the world. The studio was founded and is managed entirely by game developers. Since the success of Ruiner, we've grown quite substantially. Currently, Raycon
Dude,
is
they
over
did
50
Ruiner?
brilliant game creators.
Ah,
and counting.
nice.
Okay.
We are not a huge team, but what we love to do is to evolve together with our projects, constantly finding smarter and better ways to achieve something truly unique. We build our work environment just like we make games, aiming for the best results and personal fulfillment. We strongly believe that the well-being of team members needs to be taken care of first, before we can pour all of that love into a game.
This looks cool, man.
Partnership with Koch Media has been very fruitful and inspiring. We're happy to be in the avant-garde of the upcoming new label. We're looking forward to share more on Final Form in the future. And in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of the show and see you around.
All right. I think dude, there's a lot of these games where we are not seeing anytime soon.
Yeah.
I have to say, guys.
When was
I
Ruiner
love
out
the
last,
soundtrack
Scott?
from
Like, when did that
Final Form.
launch?
Moving on to our next game, which
Oh,
is
I'm
just
not
as
sure, but
special. What if
I
you
thought it
took
would have been
Lovecraftian and
2020.
diverse themes and mixed it all together
Yeah.
It may be
with
that new.
hardcore RPG elements? That's
just gonna see
exactly
here.
what Massive Works Studios.
2017
I got to sit down
was
with
when
their
it
came
CTO to
out.
talk about
Wow.
their game, Dolmen.
Older than I thought. What's Dolmen?
The environments in Ruiner, though, like the atmosphere that they created, was really cool. I'm curious to see what Final Form is going to look
for
like.
sure.
And this,
Yeah.
this got my attention.
World premiere. Shot.
There it is. World premiere.
Dude, I want to hear the voice tomorrow at Ubisoft, or hopefully by Sunday at least with Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hockey announcers that are not doing that right now. So.
That's right. Yeah.
What?
Let's speak now to Gabriel Ferreira, CTO of Massive Works Studios, who joins us now from Campinas near São Paulo in the southeast of Brazil. So, Gabriel, what is Dolmen about?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to participate. Well, so let me tell a little bit about what Dolmen is. Dolmen is that kind of a game where the hero needs to save everyone from an alien threat. Fighting with all kinds of monsters and struggling to keep going forward. Yeah, that's the kind of game that Dolmen is not about. In this game, you actually save the drillers, which is the alien species that live on that planet, but you're going there to help a company save its investment. So you're not really the nice guy that's trying to save everyone.
Steam logo in the background.
But we hope that the players
I don't see anything but a console though, Scott.
Humanity, the greed, the war, and the spares and the challenges that come to mind along with that job.
No, it's a QR tag.
All that part,
I don't think we can scan it from here.
It's also about fighting all kinds of monsters and struggling. After all, it is a hard game. It's a hardcore game. It's inspired on Souls-like, so yes, you're going to die.
Oh, it's a Souls-like.
Thank you.
I'm out.
When thinking about the name Dolmen, obviously you guys went for that for like a very specific reason.
Yeah, I played that one
What's
shooter.
The thinking behind the name? Why
like.
did you go for Dolmen?
That was really cool.
There was many things that came into our mind when describing the name of the game.
Let's see.
Dolmen, which means a single chamber tomb.
Immortal Unchained. That's what it was.
Dude, I like that game.
Describe this tomb.
That was cool. It was hard.
That we have that is
Mortal Shell was another one. Mortal Shell was sick.
Ways,
you play that?
Everyone's that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was in the review on that one.
That was cool game.
Everyone that is around, and we wanted this to be the main piece of the game.
Cool. Awesome. And now I know that people may or may not have heard of Dolmen before, so it is already out there in the world. But how long has it taken to get to this
point? Out there already?
Oh, it's been a long journey since the beginning of
Dude, is it already on Steam?
We started at late 2016, so it's been almost 5 years now, and probably just a bit more till it come out. But we and about our journey, if it wasn't the support that we had since the beginning, either our community, the Kickstarters, and you guys, I believe we would not be here right now.
Lovely. How have you been inspired by other games? You mentioned like the Souls-like obviously inspires it.
Seems that it's in
are there other
early
games
release
that inspire you? And also what games?
Okay, so it's coming out for early access.
First of all, regarding inspirations,
I believe so.
A lot of games came to us when we were producing the game and when we were first thinking of it. Obviously, we are really passionate and we really love Souls-like games. So Bloodborne, Dark Souls, those games were our main inspirations. But we drew inspirations from all different kind of sources. So we had inspirations in Dead Space, in Mass Effect, and also not only inspirations in other games, but also inspirations in
I'm still hoping for another Dead
Space.
Dude, I don't know if you'll see another Dead Space at all.
For example, Alien and Geiger, and those were our main inspirations. About games that we most like.
I've only heard rumors so far. Nothing confirmed.
It's really hard to say because we have a team that ranges from liking Dota to CS and Souls-like games. But what I can really tell you is that everyone of our team is passionate about the project because they love doing what they do. which is a hardcore game.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well when you get hands on Dolmen, all these inspirations that have come in. So the game is set in a sci-fi universe. Is there any specific reason you decided to go down that route? Was there any other routes that you considered at first?
Yeah. The humans are afraid of what they don't know, and the universe has infinite possibilities. There is always something unknown that we can explore in space. So that sci-fi setting really was something that we could use to throw everything that our insane minds could come with. So we wanted to use the sci-fi as a tool to reach this goal, to present the player a world of unknown that he can fear and he can enjoy it.
No, absolutely. And while we're kind of on the point of humans and Earth, you guys are based in Brazil, which is awesome. Are there any specific challenges that you face during development because of that, or just in general?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges that we faced along this 5-year journey. We obviously had to adapt our workflow in these late years. So 2020 and 2021 was a really challenge for us, but it was something that we could adapt well, especially because even that we're based in Brazil, we're not only based in a single location in Brazil. We have people spread across the country. So it was easy enough to overcome that challenge. But there were several challenges since getting development kits and finding people that are really capable of helping us to deliver this amazing game. And that's what we gathered, and that's something that our company appreciates the most and really gives value, is the people that we work with. They were really incredible people, and they were really rare over here.
Absolutely, that's really cool. Kind of on that theme of development and challenges, given how development and technology often dictates how a game evolves throughout its development, how kind of close are you to the original concept that you guys came up for Dolmen?
Well, there are different point of views on that answer, especially because we started really small. And in the journey of the game, for example, it
Frogs, if you head to insidethegame.ca, you'll find our site there.
Friends that get together and they brainstormed it for months, the game. So it diverged.
We'll be back tomorrow as well with Ubisoft at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's noon Pacific time.
Game is huge and is insane and has a lot of background on it. It has all this universe around it, so a lot of it has been built. So people that loves lore and loves the universe that we are creating, they will have a lot to explore on that side.
But the game looks cool. I just want to see more of the game.
And from its original concept, evolved a lot, especially now that we have more tools at our disposal. So on the tech side, it advanced way better than we imagined. Back 2016, we didn't have all the resources that we have now. So, of course, we made some sacrifices here and there and in order to achieve our goal. But we're never happy with satisfied at that point of satisfaction, you know? We want to reach more. At the end of the day, this is also a game and we are having fun, but on top of all, we want to make a brilliant game for the player.
Absolutely. And speaking about like making the game and the development of the game, seeing as you are lead programmer as well, what was the hardest part of making the actual game?
I believe that we could have gone into different options, especially, for example, we could have wanted to make it a game that was simpler or smaller or not have that many hours of gameplay. But we decided to go to a hardcore game, even that's a first game of our company. So we decided
this is their first game.
That challenge. We faced a lot of challenges.
Oh man, they didn't take it light.
As I mentioned
Holy crap.
But
it's cool.
Yeah, massive work studio, they say.
Finding the correct professionals.
That's right.
I guess they
focusing on what we were doing, and keeping yourself focused for 5 years on a single game is something that is challenging for everyone, especially right now. So it was a
wonder. So they've been working on it for 5 years. How close are they then to being finished?
To make that.
Yeah, with that much development time, I would have thought there'd be more cinematic going on.
There's a lot of
some action, perhaps,
than just a straight up interview.
Talking about what is the harder multiplayer is always challenging, but finding that balancing fit, so the game that is not unfair, but is hard.
Dude, I want an interview.
We wanted to aim hardcore players, so this was really something that was hard.
So you mentioned 5 years of development, which is a crazy long time. How have you kept yourself motivated? How have the team kept themselves motivated?
I won't say that it was easy, because it wasn't.
Yeah, nothing's ever easy, man.
I would say that most of all, we were always having these meetings in order to play the game. Even now that we are remote, we keep getting up every day and making a meeting and showcasing what we are doing and working alongside each one of us. Also, a lot of things that happened before COVID was the events. The events always made us super happy. So showcasing the game to everyone and getting the players to play the game.
Those too.
Yeah, we're all missing those too. When you were doing a virtual E3, seriously, whoever thought that would happen?
It's better than not.
Everyone's missing
but,
that
oh my god, yeah.
feeling, right? When you actually get to see
How
people
hype
on the
is the
games
next
and you're like,
in-person
oh
one
wow,
gonna be, though?
everyone's loving our games.
Oh, yeah,
I think
sure.
it's something that everyone is missing, definitely. Speaking of kind of motivation and happy times, what are you most proud of this game? What have you guys worked on that you're like, yeah, we did that?
I believe that the universe that we created is amazing. It has a lot of background from it. So, for example, we even made some comics for it that we prepared. We have a lot of story, some crazy cinematics. So we're really proud of the universe that we created, this game that we made, and achieving what we did is what makes us feel proud. And now that we have partnered with you, getting to expand that universe and getting to get closer to our original concept and what we meant for it, that is something that makes us really happy.
Cool. Awesome. Speaking of partnership with us, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher?
Dude, these interviews are just too long.
Brand new label.
That's really,
I'm feeling that too. It's
really
almost been exhausting
for us.
Yeah. No, I like good information, but when it's got nothing to back up gameplay or cinematics or anything, it tends to drag the interview out too long.
They have an amazing
got an Xbox One behind them.
Localization, so it can reach different countries and players everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
We have a great producer that worked with us.
And a suspiciously blank whiteboard behind him.
Yeah.
Really delivered.
I think it's covered up on something.
And without Koch opened the doors for us on that.
I think you're right.
Maybe. I think it's just a white
label is a great opportunity for us. And
the bottom edge looks indefinite, like it's covered with a sheet of paper. I don't know.
And to meet you as well. We really thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We are so happy to have you guys on board. And more importantly, I am so excited to actually let people play this game at some point under this new label. So thank you so much for your time, Gabrielle.
No date though,
It's been awesome talking to you. And yeah, let's
King's Bounty 2 coming up.
Dolmen
5 years on
the new label. Thank you for your time, and see you later.
Thank you. See ya.
Now, the first title from Prime Matter will be the beautiful, highly anticipated King's Bounty 2. We have a first look at the gameplay trailer, and then Opal got a chance to sit down and talk with CEO Nikolai Baryshnikov.
The balance is off. Our land, Nostria, dances on the knife's edge of fate. King Claudius, my father, cannot lead, and his absence has set the realm in motion. Something is coming. Now the burden of the crown falls onto me. Nostria was flourishing, but there is unrest.
It used to be beautiful here. My wife and I had a nice life then.
Conspiracy, sabotage, necromancy. They all threaten this land asunder. But we must unite, for distorted terrors are advancing. Rumors tell of a false prophet, putting our hope in something that does not exist. A seer foretells that our savior is among us. People of Nostria, you laid faith in my father, do so to me. We must look towards the horizon, fight back the darkness.
Are you gonna show any gameplay?
The light of our land.
This isn't how the game plays, Scott. I've seen it. August 24th. The game looks cool, but it's got like turn-based hexagon, I think, gameplay
Hello there,
mechanics.
guys. Thanks for joining me. And I am joined by Nikolai Baryshnikov from 1C Entertainment, who is CEO and creator of King's Bounty 2. So King's Bounty has been years in development and has a 30-year pedigree. So what is it that makes King's Bounty 2 so special?
The original King's Bounty was the grandfather of games of series like Heroes of Might and Magic. So it created these turn-based gameplay when you have a hexed-based battlefield and the troops are moving in turns. Like chess pieces on the board. So I think that's the key, the cornerstone of King's Bounty.
Absolutely, and kind of speaking about that, and I know as you mentioned, the first King's Bounties was 1990, and then you had the King's Bounty that you guys created in the 2000s. What technical improvements, now that we're in 2021, are you most excited about implementing into the new King's Bounty 2?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the core aspect of the game with tactical battles. And if in the previous games, the battlefield was always a flat surface, so now we're bringing the battlefield into 3D. So we will have, line of sights, hills.
I want to see gameplay, Scott.
Simple example: if your archers are on the hill, they will do like extra damage for the high ground, etc. So moving the battle.
They showed off the environment, the creatures, the situation. It's all looking impressive.
The rolling part, the exploration part, we decided to move more towards
some of the action.
Games
for sure.
Like Fable or Mass Effect, kind of epic.
Fable, dude, we gonna see Fable this weekend?
As opposed to have a top-down view.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Just galloping around the map. So we are moving towards this kind of epic.
I'm just going to be nervous if it's Peter Molyneux you're talking about.
He comes back out. Here's what I'm promising for the next Fable. I don't work at Rare, but here we go. Or Playground. Yeah.
So speaking of the other King's Bounty games, will this King's Bounty 2 follow the other stories of the games, or will it be a standalone title?
No, the game will not follow on any previous games, but even the previous King's Bounty, they all sort of like disconnected. There was like the main protagonist, there are a bunch of like, evil guys, there's like a small quest. And I would say that a previous King's Bounty it was not like an epic RPG adventure. So the game was more about just battling random monsters on the map and solving some little quests. And then King's Bounty 2 is really, a epic adventure. We had spent like dozens of hours solving puzzles, working with different factions, making decisions that change the character and the world. So we're really moving much more towards, an epic RPG. However, this is a rare combination where our game, King's Bounty, is not an action RPG. It's not a Witcher game where you have to, press buttons on the joysticks and battle enemies in the field. It's interesting crossbreed of a high fantasy role-playing game with a tactical strategy title.
Sounds cool, doesn't it? What's up, Betty Player One? How are you, man?
Was never done on console, but this is fairly unique.
The conference so far is interesting, but these interviews go a little long, dude.
Was a modern remake of
yeah,
XCOM, for example.
it's lacking some in-game engine footage.
1996,
yeah,
and
but a lot of interesting concepts so far.
Reinventing of XCOM.
I'm excited to see what they've got. Like, this is a lot of stuff they have coming. It's cool, but
game that works well.
I just want to see more.
Works well with.
We don't know how long it's going to be. I want to say maybe another 10 minutes, which would put this at an hour.
Enhance it in every possible direction.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Kind of speaking about the story of King's Bounty 2 and
Could
how
be
it
an hour and a half,
differs,
though, Scott.
It appears to have a darker, more gritty aesthetic compared to its predecessors. What was the design philosophy around that? Why did you decide to go with that instead?
That's an interesting question. We've been debating on the design approach. And again, as I said, we spent a lot of time.
Was that them? That was them, eh? Did you hear that?
And the looks and the art.
Oh, was that on their side or was that my computer?
Oh, I wondered. Okay, might have been yours. I was like, what is that noise?
But we decided we are now trying to play differently.
No hints from. If it was mine, I have no clue.
Epic adventure. We've been, astonished by modern fantasy titles both in Hollywood and. In games. And
August 24th, we're going to get our hands on this.
Bounty to what we call like high fantasy or like realistic fantasy. So it's not a dark fantasy like Kingdom Come when they're like, dirty peasants, everything is bad. No, it's more like, as I said, like high fantasy, epic characters. If there's a dragon, it looks like a dragon, not like a toy. If there's a villain, he or she looks like a real bad person. So that was the main philosophy. Plus, game development evolves, and I don't think that it's a good idea to take a game of 2008 and just make a replica with slightly enhanced graphics.
It's good. I'm glad to hear that they've remade this game from the ground up.
Especially for consoles.
Yeah.
There's a specific expectation from somebody.
It's been enough time since the last release. It's like they kind of thought of everything.
Yeah, for sure.
It has to look graphically and gameplay wise like this. There's an expectation, and we believe that that's what we have to do.
Yeah, so we've mentioned that this game combines different kind of like ways that you can play the game, basically, from third-person RPG elements to this unique fighting system, this kind of chess-like fighting system.
Show us some gameplay of it. That would be the best part, honestly.
With the evolution of game design,
it would explain it.
Games,
oh my goodness!
Did you choose to stick to these hybrid game mechanics? Do you think that this is kind of
Eddie? How's the new show going, man? I saw you guys switched over from the Stadia to a whole focus on streaming games now, streaming platforms. How's that going for you guys?
Turn-based games. So if you remove tactical combat from King's Bounty, then it becomes, I don't know, Mass Effect or Kingdom Come. So this is. So we can play around with.
Well, that combination of games also sounds kind of good.
Yeah, I hear they sell a couple.
So this is a tactical game with a lot of role-playing aspects and high fantasy aspects, and not the other way around. So again,
I'm looking forward to your next few Mass Effect reviews. I have to say.
Dude, the first one didn't cut it.
Not for them. I'm sorry. It's a different game.
Yeah, and in terms of, we've mentioned kind of this new 3D world that you're creating when it comes to the fighting style, and then these RPG mechanics and making this world feel more alive and more exciting. What was actually the hardest part of you making the game? What took the longest time? What kind of caused you the most headaches?
Hard to say. First of all, this is a multiple platform game, so there are specific technical issues.
Yeah, I'm sure it's cool, man. It allows you to talk about a lot more, right?
Just, let's say,
instead of just focusing on Stadia.
Game, then,
I'm definitely curious to chat with you guys and hear your thoughts on where Stadia lies now.
Getting different specifications.
Yeah, there's a lot of things coming up under that topic.
And then secondly,
it's an interesting time for sure.
As soon as we went away from this kind of cartoonish,
yeah, for sure. I'm sure you guys are having a great time talking.
Easy-looking isometric view into a 3D high fantasy and the production of assets. So
dude, these are good interviews, but it's just
map with a lot of,
show us the game. The game is out in August. Let me see what that looks like as they talk about it, right? Like,
and we decided to.
The whole thing's recorded. It's not like it's live. I'd almost guarantee you this is not live.
Engine-based cutscenes.
No, I've seen too many jumps.
What's going on.
Yeah,
too many
cuts. So we even had to buy our motion capture studio. We, we worked with like dozens of actors, and there are hours and hours and hours of in-game based cutscenes, which in the past could be just dialogues and pieces of text. That was another huge complication.
No, absolutely. And then the final question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch and being
They're
on
really
their
pushing that part, aren't they?
Label?
Oh, that provides us a lot of additional support because I'm not sure that all gamers understand how games get to the market. So making a game, writing pieces of code or drawing this amazing sketch of a dragon is only half of the puzzle. So it's like yin yang. You need a lot of support from production people, testing, localization.
I don't know if I've seen you draw a dragon yet, Drew. I have to.
Putting all this units into the retail shops in the world.
2 to 3 questions, short answers, and gameplay. That's how it should have been. Absolutely.
So we decided to.
Dude, it's like a 10-minute interview of just back and forth, back and forth.
That seems to be
and they're stacking interview after interview, and there's nothing kind of in between to pace it out.
I would say.
I'm feeling the fatigue a little bit now.
Just ourselves,
yeah,
but we might not have,
it's said like they're good interviews. It's just it needs to be backed up by some gameplay instead of just staring at the developers. Kind of reminds me of the ID at Xbox Showcase.
Platform holders as effectively as in a co-production, a co-publishing with such esteemed partners, Koch Media and Bracer Group. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for your
Scars
time, Nikolai.
Above is up next, Scott.
I cannot wait for people to get their hands on King's Bounty too.
Oh, me too. Trust me, me too. After 4 years of development, that's going to be one of the most exciting days for me in 2021.
We have 12 titles. We keep saying it. And honestly, I shouldn't have a favorite. It's like picking between a favorite child. However, this next title speaks
but she's picking her favorite child.
Gaming level. Unlike any other. This third-person action-adventure shooter will keep you up at night tossing and turning with its horrific, nightmarish creatures. Think Alice in Wonderland meets Alien, or as one US journalist put it, Tomb Standing. Guys, sit back, relax, grab a pillow, because you get a world-exclusive look.
World premiere.
Good job. Dr. Ward, Dr. Yoshida, get to the bridge.
There it is at the bottom.
There it is. Shot.
World premiere.
Looked like she hit an invisible wall there.
Telemetry check.
Telemetry check. Here go.
Dude. This looks cool.
How is this
What does
possible?
telemetry check mean?
Yeah, I know. It's and that was it. Then we just teleported into something else. E. Oh, it's on computer right now. See if it comes to consoles. To the cloud. Streaming platforms.
The gate has an internal conduction system.
I can't
The
see
3
E
points
without
on the
thinking of
rim seem
that
sensitive.
EA meme.
A targeted blast of electricity should cause a reaction.
She got a machete with like a neon blade.
The debris.
Yeah, laser
It's
machete. Okay.
It must have splintered off as it entered the atmosphere.
Vectorized energy rail accelerator. That sounds like a weapon from Mass Effect, actually.
Yeah.
It's still intact.
Oh. What are we seeing? The tutorial stage? That's what it looked like.
The creature has
It's in the E.
multiple cellular glands in its
Yeah.
thoracic region.
Yeah, no kidding.
Arachnid, Scorpiid. Ooh. If we ever find a planet full of those, and we end up in combat, I will volunteer.
I'm out. I'm out of here. Forget it. Dude, that was cool.
Scorpions. I'm in.
The whole place is covered with some kind of.
Or as the
organic
chief would
residue.
say, I need a weapon.
Looks like Robinson managed to connect the MPU to the pillar. This will help me get through that tissue webbing. And I'm taking the MPU.
Burn. Huh. What do you think, Scott?
They're doing a kind of slow-paced reveal here, but I think there's something promising.
Yeah. I like the weapon design.
Yeah, the weapons are interesting. I like the sci-fi element
Who are
of
the
it.
architects of this place?
Accelerator,
Did they build
rifle, that
these
kind of thing.
towering
Yeah.
And
monuments to
this
serve
environment
purpose?
looks
Or as a
pretty good.
testament
I
to
get
their
the
right?
Stranding reference.
Were they looking for answers or
Yeah.
solving a problem? Oh my god!
Think they like Tomb Raider? She almost looks like Lara Croft.
This thing was huge.
But down the bottom, Scott, bottom left-hand corner. Your inventory down there.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And they're all key inputs.
Yeah, they are.
ZXCV.
The appendages are dripping.
Ugh.
The fluid that's freezing the water. There's the brain, and the neural pathways leading to various organs. The pseudocerebrum seems to be generating an electrical charge.
It looks good.
This neural pathway is conducting large amounts of bioelectricity.
They're gonna show us the whole puzzle?
This gland is secreting the cryogenic fluid that's freezing.
You're clearly
The
scanning
scan
stuff.
thing.
The scan
The scan
mechanic?
thing is kind of reminding me of Metroid Prime.
Oh, okay.
Where you can scan everything, and that's kind of where they put the lore.
Yeah.
So that instead of it being somebody just telling you about the creature.
Yeah. It's like Batman Arkham Knight, when you had to scan your environment. Scan the crime scene.
Oh, you know, I skipped the whole Arkham series. I tried to play Arkham City.
Are you serious?
And the first fight with like 6 dudes in a room.
Yeah.
Like, I could have sat there for 3 hours doing the fight, but it just took so long.
Oh, man. It's so good. Arkham Knight actually is the only one that I didn't finish. I beat the other two. It was cool.
It just, the combat reminded me of Assassin's Creed, but if I had a foam, like, pool noodle.
We're gonna watch a boss fight now? Nope, that's it.
That really was something. No. And last week, Opal had a chance to talk to the developers, Mad Head Games, and ask them what their game was all about.
Hello there, guys. Joining me now from Novi Sad in Serbia is Ivan Zorkic, game director at Mad Head Games, who's going to tell us all about his new project. So, Ivan, what's Scars Above all about?
Hey there. Scars Above, well, an alien object appears near Earth. And a team of astronauts is sent to explore it, to do a close-range scan. However, for some reason that I don't want to go into now, this results in them in an event which causes them to be transported to an unknown alien planet. So our protagonist, Kate Ward, who is a mission specialist, she's an astrobiologist with a background in engineering. She's one of the members of the team of astronauts, of the team called SCAR team, which is Sentient Contact Assessment and Response. So she is on the ship doing the scan, and she ends up on this stranded on this alien planet. So one moment she's with her team in the ship, and the other moment she's on this strange planet alone. So she explores, she finds out that her team is also stranded on the planet. She has to find them first. And it seems that some time has passed. She doesn't understand why. And also the planet is very hostile. So there's a bunch of dangerous creatures, monsters, and everything seems to want to kill her and the rest of her crew. So she needs to find out what's going on, solve this mystery. How did they end up here? What does this planet want from them? And the story unravels, and she actually learns about the place and learns about the mystery behind it. But it's all about being stranded on this kind of scary, but also in a way strangely beautiful world, and facing a lot of nasty creatures and monsters.
Yeah. So it's kind of keeping on that theme of the realm of possibility and whatnot. How much in the game has its roots in the real world, and how much is just plain crazy sci-fi?
Well, it's mostly sci-fi, but the themes come from the real world. So they're inspired by the real world. I think the best stories come from the real world, even if they're, about...
You got controllers behind it with the headset.
Or fairy tales, and of course,
it's like an Xbox or a Switch controller.
Exploration. There's always this component.
There's a DualSense 5 controller there too, I think.
Above is about reason versus terror.
So I'm wondering if it's coming to consoles.
This is a very important topic to me, and that's a very real
I think that would make sense
for me.
Right? It would make a lot of sense to bring this to console.
A lot of bad things come out of fear. And this fear, gives birth to some unreasonably dark actions, which lead to more bad things and more fear and more bad things. And in a way, Scars Above
maybe
is
this guy's last project
for me,
was Feather.
A metaphor for reason standing up against terror, science against darkness, knowledge against ignorance.
So apart from kind of staying within sci-fi and obviously that kind of opening up the possibility that this can actually happen makes sci-fi what it is there any other important reason to you to keep, that sense of realism still there in the game?
So there is yes, there is a reason to keep realism, but I think the better word is to make it believable. So if you go for absolute realism, you're kind of limited on what you can tell, the story you can tell. It kind of is like there is fiction element to the sci-fi, right? But we want to make it believable.
Eddie. A lot of them are console based. To be honest, it's just that we saw this one as you can see the keys come up right from the keyboard. So we're just curious as to where this one lies.
What if this really happened? What would
but
I
everything
do
else they've shown so far, it pretty well looks like it's a console game.
On this strange, far away from home.
They've got Maneater. They have Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's on PC. It's on console.
And like if you make this believable, people might actually think more about it.
Scott, who's
so we don't want to go
the other GTA game?
Realistic,
Saints Row.
But we do want to make it
Saints
believable
Row as well.
so that because immersion
a lot of
is
them
really
are
important.
console
so that
based.
people get immersed in this world and start thinking like, what would I do if I was in this situation? And what if this was really what if this happens someday? What if an alien object does appear near Earth someday, and what would happen?
Absolutely. And then you mentioned the lead protagonist, Kate Ward.
What would happen
You told her, you told about her job title. What else?
Would you rather see aliens or zombies, Scott?
Why is she?
Kate is awesome.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Kate is
that's a good one, eh? What would you rather see?
Very capable, but also a very caring person. So she's an astronaut. She's a scientist.
Aliens would give us all a reason to
member,
unite.
A colleague, an explorer.
Okay,
we would all just be
Terrans. Has this childlike scientific curiosity.
But zombies.
But one thing she is not, and that's a warrior, like a trained warrior. She's not a soldier, so she's not like a space commando or anything. And she
I think I'd have to
end up
prefer
in a
aliens.
situation where like she needs to fight for her life.
Then I could think about what else is out there.
That's a theme that's kind of like really interesting.
There's more on the horizon than with zombies being the end of the world.
The fact that she's not a trained combatant doesn't mean she's not capable. So she has like a strong will, a sharp mind. And she's very brave and tough, but she's under tremendous stress in our game, and we want to show how vulnerable she is, how scared she is, how distressed. Because true courage doesn't, it doesn't come out of lack of fear. It comes in face of fear. So we do want to show this fear, and it's actually like this. The fact that she's overcoming this, like fighting her emotions, fighting all the stress, that makes her courageous, and that's great. So she gets frightened, she fights her emotions. She's susceptible to panic, which I think kind of makes her relatable. Like she's not like I'm all out of gum. I'm kicking ass and chewing bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. That's not her. She's like her heart pounds. Her voice breaks. She
I think
trembles.
Bound is Scotch.
But that's what I really like.
Might be.
When her voice breaks, when she's like really scared, but she like clenches her fist, and the adrenaline kicks in, and she pushes through. No matter the obstacle, and she does it using her mind, and using science and using her cunning to craft these weapons and gadgets and survive against the odds.
Awesome. So you mentioned that Kate's a team player and that Scar gets sent up. Who else is in the team? Who else are we going to be meeting on this adventure?
So she's a part of a 4-person team. There is the commander of the mission, Commander Richard Robinson, and he's like a person with a military background, like a pilot and an officer, and he is the commander after all.
They had a whole trailer, dude, that they could have incorporated to the interview.
This is also kind of like the idea that. It's this alien object appears. We send scientists and explorers trying to figure what's going on. So Kate is joined by her close friend Tamara, who is and also like a scientist and an astronaut, and by Mike. A little bit younger member of the team, but who is also like a communications expert.
This is obviously different content. Could you imagine if we did reviews
working together to solve this mystery? But Kate
doesn't
get
so boring
from them, and part of the game is actually uncovering the fate of her other team members, and
I'd rather take
don't
my
spoil
face
anything,
completely
but,
off.
Kate
than
obviously
have
cares
an
a lot
entire
about
section of it, you know.
her teammates and her friends.
No, absolutely.
Speaking
The
of
screenplay
best
is
villains
very
that you can
important.
have, what are you most proud of up to date of Scars Above?
I'm actually gonna give you a corny but very true answer. I'm most proud of the team. So like making a game is a huge effort, and it requires a lot of hard work.
It's not the
focus,
destination;
energy,
it's the friends you
dedication,
make along
also
the
like
way.
cooperation, communication, support. So it's just
Yeah, for
like
sure.
looking at a group of people working together on a common goal. That's really inspiring.
Dude, it's
And I
not
think
live.
that's totally
Eddie,
the
I would
case
tell
with
you
any
right
development
now,
team.
this
Like,
is
when you
all
ask them, like, what you're
pre-recorded.
most proud of. You know, and I keep
I'd be
thinking
shocked
if
that
this
is
something
live.
in the far future.
They've referenced
I may
a few
actually forget
interviews
some
where
of
they
the
said
details
she
during the
sat
development,
down
but I
a
will
week
always
ago
remember
to
the
talk.
people I worked with.
So
That's awesome.
I
And then
think
last
that
question,
just knocks it off.
what are the
live.
benefits of signing up with a
Most
global
likely it's
publisher
all
like Koch and being
prepackaged.
on their brand new
Yeah. Well, even the
publishing
interview
label?
with
There's a bunch of benefits.
Brass
but, like,
Token,
you
the
know,
very
having
first one,
access to
you can see the
certain
guy was
resources,
like
to
not engaged with the camera. He's
this
like
is a
looking
game,
down
you know,
and having the conversation.
with many
But
firsts
all the
for us.
questions were
So
pre-recorded and
having
all the
someone
answers
to
were the
just,
same
like,
way.
you know,
They weren't
share
done in a
thoughts
true
and share
interview
experiences
kind
is
of
really
scenario.
valuable. But you know,
So,
on a personal level, I have
I'm
to
not
say
sure
this,
how
and
they've
I'm
done
being
all of
perfectly
this, but
honest,
I'm
like,
curious
the biggest benefit for
to see,
me,
because I
was
think a
meeting
lot of it, if
bunch
not
great
90%
people
of this, is
on
probably
your
already
side.
pre-recorded.
And I truly mean this. Like,
And in Eddie's case, Scott, he says this is not acceptable.
Work with you, not just you know, not just talking about the game or how we can make it better, but you know, just like we talk a lot, as you know, like we chat about various things. Just meeting you guys, like it's a tremendous boost to what we're doing. And you know, I don't want to downplay like the obvious benefits, because
Drew,
there's a
if
lot
it
of
ever
them,
comes
like,
up
you
to
know,
it,
the infrastructure,
I will
the
arm
resources.
wrestle you or
But, you know,
any other
for me
competitive
personally,
nature
it's just
to
like
decide
meeting
who
and
gets
getting to
to
hang out with you
interview
guys.
David Hayter.
That's really awesome.
Absolutely. And it's a
We're gonna
pleasure
have to
hang
run
out
that
with you
one
as well,
live.
Adam. And thank you so much for your time.
for sure.
I cannot wait to let people play Scars Above, because I know that we have so much fun with it.
Almost like a
in
pitch
the
meeting.
interviews. So thank you
Yeah.
very
I would
much.
love to interview
And
David
yeah, we
Hayter
can't
while
wait to see
doing
more.
my impression.
Thank
of
you,
David
thank
Hayter.
you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to people
Wonder what he would
playing
do.
the game.
Start talking
I'm
back to you
really
like
excited
Snake?
about it, too. And thank you for this.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And now for
I'd
something
have to
completely
end it
different.
with
When Brian
eating
Fargo himself,
worms.
the granddaddy of top-down isometric RPGs, says he is excited about a game, that's got to mean Prime Matter is getting something right. Encased is an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG scheduled for release this autumn. And this new trailer, which we're unveiling today, should give you a pretty good flavor of what the game is all about.
It's 1976.
Really?
And the future has arrived. But here's the skinny.
It's almost like a pitch meeting. Come distribute your game with us. Dude, they always end off with, how important is it for you to join Koch Media? Or under the Prime Matter label,
Was it from our
right?
ancient
Like it's,
past? Was it made by
Yeah,
aliens?
there is a bit of
Does it
fist
run on
bumping.
perfectly harmless
yeah,
nuclear power?
absolutely.
We need to know, and humanity is waiting for you to help unlock its secrets. Descend into the dome itself and join one of our incredible research teams. The only question is, which wing of Cronus is the best fit for you? If you like taking orders, cracking heads, ultra-violence, and guns, lots of guns, then the Black Wing is for you. Can you build and repair incredible technology, but not expect any credit for it? You sound like an engineer to us. Welcome to the Blue Wing. Are you a doctor, scientist, mathematician, or any other type of brainiac? We've got you covered in the White Wing. Do you like taking credit for the hard work of others, but never do anything yourself? Those forms won't fill themselves. That's management, mister. And the Silver Wing awaits. Are you a criminal, prisoner, or have no discernible skills whatsoever? Then you're coming to the Orange Wing, like it or not. Are you ready for adventure? Are you ready to make the change with us? Are you ready to love it so much that you'll never want to leave? Then join Cronus and take the second giant leap for mankind under the dome.
That's not all. Opal got to sit down with the creative brains behind Encased. Check it out.
let's go to St. Petersburg in Russia and speak to Vyacheslav Kosahin, creative director of Dark Crystal Games and the brains behind their upcoming isometric RPG Encased.
That's a cool name. There's a lot of cool Russian names, man.
What is Encased?
So
my name's only 4
is
letters
an
long.
Old school RPG in the sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting, basically.
Awesome. So the name Encased is kind of, it's a word and it has various meanings. What's the thinking behind the name?
The thinking behind the name comes from the setting of the game, from one main entity of it, which is the dome. The game takes place in the anomalous zone called the dome, which was found somewhere in the last unknown desert on the Earth and on our planet. And well, basically people who get in there, various scientists, technicians, soldiers and adventurers, they can't get back. This is sort of a one-way road, so those guys who explore the dome, they are encased in there, which I think makes some sense in this
Looks like
regard.
a quirky game.
Absolutely. Yes. So I know that you guys have been developing this game for kind of a long time now. How long is it actually taking to get to the point where you are now?
Yeah. So we are developing the game for 3.5 years
good way of
now.
keeping
We
it
started late in
within its own
2017
identity,
with some pre-production.
There's a lot of third person, a lot of first person.
Obviously, we have thoughts about a project like this for years and years before
Isometric
that,
is
before
cool,
they
especially
those
when it's not
crystallized in
turn-based, just
something,
because it's a turn-based
something
trope.
that really exists.
Yeah,
so it takes
turn-based
10
kind
years
of it can
thinking
slow down the
behind
game
this
so much
this
sometimes
project
it doesn't
and
work.
3.5 years of actual production time.
I'm told the Gears of War one is really good, but I haven't played it myself.
Oh man, it's so good.
Keep
The game is so good. You gotta play that, Scott. You can get it on Game Pass.
Title.
Well,
Yeah,
we can't say we have any problems
already.
with motivation on our own, because for
There's
most,
too many
if
games,
not
man.
everyone on the
Yeah,
team,
too
this
many
is the
games.
dream project that comes
waves
to
of them have been
life.
hitting us
So that's fine in this
spring.
regard. The motivation is always
Non-stop,
high,
right?
but also we are in the early access. And we're really open with the community from the very early stages of the project. And because of this openness and talks with the community, and we have had a crowdfunding, and that now we are in the early access, we have this constant feedback on the project, both positive and sometimes negative, which obviously keeps us motivated. If we would be on our own for those like 3.5 years and some extra time we'll spend on developing this game, maybe the motivation could decline a little bit, but with those constant talks with the community, shared feedback, we're all good.
Awesome. And then kind of bringing it back to the game, given how development and technology often is basically dictates how the game evolves throughout its development, how close to the original concept that you came up with years and years ago are you now with the game that you have currently?
The overall concept, we managed to keep it alive. We managed to keep it true. It's a very old school CRPG type game, which is inspired by many golden classics of late 90s and early 2000s, and in that regard, it all those ideas survived through the process, which is really great. Most of the mechanics, abilities, perks, and all those little things which these RPGs are built from, we managed to put it in there too. But obviously, because technology changed and even time passes, some less important things, I'd say, like maybe graphics or maybe art style, beats, or maybe some topics and themes. We explore those, transformed and changed during the process, because making games and RPGs particularly, it's an iterative process and takes many iterations to figure out what is the heart, what is the idea you want to bring to the players. So those transformed and crystallized during this long development. But the original concept, the very heart of it's all in there, which is really great.
Yeah, so speaking about the concept, what's the actual narrative of Encased?
The story of Encased is a story about exploring this anomalous zone, the Dome. The player starts as an employee of this Cronus organization, which is the only organization that controls entire Dome research and studying. There are 5 departments which are called
reminds me a little bit of
player
Outer
can
Worlds.
Start in, which affects the game a lot.
Right from
the story
Obsidian?
of the game. This is the Black Wing, which
Alright, Eddie,
are
have a good one,
the
man.
security and
Thanks for
police
stopping by, dude.
services. There are White Wing, which are scientists and medics. There is the Silver Wing, which are the management and ruling wing of the Dome of the Cronus. There are Blue Wing, which are technicians and engineers, and there is this special Orange Wing, which contains ex-convicts which were freed to go to the Dome to do various manual labor.
So you've mentioned that the game is set in the early 70s. Not many games have been set in that time period. What prompted you to pick that specific
Make me think
time
of
period?
ICP.
Well, we think that the
classes of
70s is the
One of them is
perfect
prisoner.
time for
they don't ever have
our
a good
game,
story.
what we are doing. Because 70s is like the last tick on the timeline of the humanity, while there were some blind spots on the planet. First satellites and first people in space, it's all happened in late 50s and early 60s, right? And 70s is the last spot on the timeline when there are some, when satellites do not have this complete web surrounding the Earth and the planet, and there are some blind spots where such an amazing and dangerous place like Dome can be hidden. And from that place, from that time, the story takes its alternative path. Instead of going further to the space, humanity sort of descends into the Dome to study it and to do those scientific researches and do those miraculous discoveries, basically.
Yeah, so you mentioned that this is kind of like almost a parallel universe. How far did you deviate from what actually happened in the 70s compared to what happens in the game? I guess it's seeing, as you said, that it devolves, it's quite a bit.
Yeah, obviously. So the main topic would be obviously that instead of continuing the Cold War, the West and the East, if we can call those, they instead start to explore the ideas of internationalism and exploring the Dome together and forming that super corporation Cronus, which
if
is
only
actually
America and Russia had done that in real life,
we'd
be on Mars already.
That explores the Dome, controls all the researches and controls the flow of artifacts and scientific researches.
He's a dragonborn
into the rest of the world.
This is like a
those ideas are quite different from what happened in the real world, I guess.
And kind of bringing it back to the real world almost. Obviously, you guys are based in Russia, and life in the 70s was very different than life was in the West. How much of that do you think translates to an international audience once we get out there, and how much do you think people won't understand because they just, no one kind of really
As a Canadian from '92, I have no concept of what the '70s were.
As I said, I think the game
the '80s are well
the
explored.
ideas of internationalism when
I'm pretty
very
certain
different
I have
parties
an idea
across
what
the
the 80s
world
were,
could put their
70s is a big
own
mystery.
struggles, political and other struggles aside, to humanity become something bigger when it's combined with everyone is united together to to ascend, to be something more, and to explore the dome, its dangers and its discoveries, basically.
Absolutely. Now bringing it kind of back to you guys and the developers again. You mentioned that you were inspired by other games. What games really truly inspired it? Not just games, but media. And also, what do you and the team like as well when it comes to video games?
Well, we are here all the hardcore RPG fans. So it's not secret why we, I suppose, picked up a project like this to develop. And it's not a secret that the game is it's in a very hard way was inspired by the Fallout series, and the other great RPG games of late 90s and early 2000s, and some modern ones too, actually.
So speaking about development, what was the hardest part of making the game for you guys?
I think the easier question would be what was the easy part. I can't really come with much things which were easy. It's all it's an everyday struggle in a way. It's a marathon, but it's a happy marathon, and it's a happy everyday struggle basically for us.
Absolutely. And then moving it into that more positive thing, the happy marathon, what are you most proud of when it comes to Incast?
I'm obviously proud of both the team and the project itself, because both us here in the team and our community, we often forget that 3.5 years ago there was nothing, there was emptiness, nothing existed.
Coming up on 90 minutes now, and nothing on the top right.
Later,
make me wonder if they're going to cap it.
Both with the team effort and the feedback which we get from the community, there is this
we have not gone through 12 games yet,
a
though.
curious world.
Dude, if they do all 12 games, this is going to be killer.
Explored,
it's going to be an 8-hour stream.
And then moving on to the last question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global
now would be the time to
publisher
see the
like
next
Koch
little
Media
label
and
come
being
up,
on
Sky.
their new label?
So we think that signing with the partner
Yeah, here it goes.
is really great. Because
Game number
not
4.
only benefits us as developers, but such partnership also benefits our community, our players.
Yeah, I know we are.
We as the developers, we get more time to work on the project and polish it so it would be in the perfect state.
5, 6. I think we're at
while
7.
Our players will enjoy more localizations, which will make
Scott!
the game more accessible to the wider audience. We'll get the voiceover done, which
Echoes of the
just
end.
makes the
Okay.
game better and bring it on some other
pizza takes about
level.
20 minutes to get to my house.
From an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG to our next title, which is a fresh take on the action-adventure.
Das Vedanya,
This
Vreshislav.
team, all the way from Iceland, specifically built a mocap studio for this title and has the incredible talent Aldous Hamilton as their lead protagonist. I got to sit down with the guys and ask them, what is this game all about?
So Echoes of the End is a cinematic, narrative-driven action-adventure game about Rin, a person who has trained all her life to be a warrior in service to a throne and is now searching and finding her own identity as she's cast away from the life she's always known. It's
Sounds cool.
A game we wanted to make all our lives, basically. And for us, what we really wanted to explore was a marriage of a cinematic experience and the narrative, choice-driven storytelling of RPGs. Finding that bridge and union is what really inspired us to go and make our own video game.
Exactly, and such a big integral part of the experience is how you as a player choose to interact with the characters around you, the different companions, the characters that you'll run into when you're going about in the game and trying to solve all the issues that the player that you'll be facing as a player.
What was the inspiration behind it?
We're at a remarkable point in the game industry where, you know, a relatively small team is able to tackle such an ambitious vision, and it's actually reasonable. And I think we've just recently arrived at that point. You know, there have been some really great games making leaps in the past few years, kind of paving the way for this as the tools and hardware and software get more accessible and affordable for smaller developers. We kind of, you know, in the early days of Midgard, we came to realize that a game like this might be possible. And it seemed unreal to us that it might be at the time. But, you know, growing the team and building up the tech and pipelines in-house, you know, we saw that this was, in fact, possible. And it's an absolute dream for everyone at the company to, you know, be privileged enough to work on a game like this and to really shape the game.
What's it look like, Scott? What's it look like?
Kind of sticking on that point of development and how technology often drives the direction of how a game evolves throughout its development. How close to the original concept is the game now?
That's a really good
concept
question.
art.
So it's rather close.
Anything.
Like, I would say we didn't really do any large pivots.
Their office does look
We did make some
incredibly
changes,
empty.
of course, as the vision evolved and as we understood better.
Yeah.
I suppose
kind of
they all
what
are
the
nowadays,
game
though.
was going
Pretty
to be and kind of how we scoped it to fit a team that would be able to execute on it. But I think, you know, we were always, you know, from day one that the idea for the game kind of conceptualized, we were looking at the technology that was allow us to make this game, you know, going for really, you know, realistic and stunning visuals, you know, digital doubles for characters, scanned environments, you know, next-gen development engines, next-gen game engines, kind of all those things were in place for us to make the game. I think the primary things that have changed in the making of the game are more in the details of the execution of that, how we structure the story, what kind of game mechanics we want in a game like that, and really what the identity of our game is and how we separate that from other games.
We genuinely have been making this game, even though it is slightly different.
Yeah.
My work as narrative director has not had to change a lot.
Exactly, yeah.
We've mentioned, obviously, at the start and throughout what we've spoke about so far that you guys are based in Iceland, and everyone knows the, like, picturesque scenery of Iceland. Did you get much inspiration from your homeland in the environment?
Yes, absolutely. You know, Iceland is such a phenomenal place to live in, and it's a beautiful country that's been featured in, you know, many
I'm
films
trying to
and
think of that
music videos
movie.
before us.
With Will Ferrell, that's in Iceland.
The funny
I
thing
can't
is
remember
that
the name
us
of it
growing
now.
up in Iceland, this is normalcy for us. This is
I don't
what
know.
we've been used to.
It's got
It
Pierce
isn't until
Brosnan
we
in it,
visit other
too.
countries that we realize that the
Right,
rest
you
of the
got me,
world
man.
isn't a fantasy land.
Oh my god, trees!
Yes. So, but yeah, I mean, it's absolutely inspired by Iceland. And, you know, I was working as a tour guide for the longest time, and a lot of us, like, grew up in the country from different locations. And we pulled from those locations in the game, and even for some of them, we have nearly one-to-one replicas of them, you know, in the game.
Mhm.
But the game itself isn't based in Iceland, of course. We're just taking inspiration from the more fantasy level vistas and visuals.
Because while all this is true, while we love Iceland and while we'd be fools not to utilize the access we have to Icelandic natural phenomena to scan and take references from, we don't want to make a game about Vikings because it's something that's been done a lot, and we really want to make a unique IP that is ours and that no one has seen before.
Yeah, and we kind of touched on characters, and you mentioned the main character at the very start. Tell us about her. Tell us, you know, what made you choose her? Why does she exist the way that she exists?
I'll hand that one off to you, I think.
Yeah, it's always a tricky question to answer without getting into any sort of spoilers.
Yeah.
But Rin is, as I say, she is a character, a person trained from birth to be a weapon in service to the crown. I was really fascinating in exploring the difference between a person that is, the juxtaposition between purpose and independence. And Rin is a character burdened by purpose and chained to it. She has been given a purpose not of her own choosing, not by her own volition, but one that she has inherent to her birth and very existence. Throughout this game in particular, we want to explore the journey of going beyond that purpose and going beyond what role you are born into and seizing the world by the throat.
Dude, we have seen nothing on the game yet at all.
I would say that she's born with certain powers that make her both a pariah and a uniquely powerful individual. But with that power
is this a text-based point and click? I don't know.
Superstitions.
I don't know.
Isometric RPG.
Yeah, it's a third-person action. I think they
that's
stated.
General enough to avoid spoilers.
Yeah,
Would you like to add to that?
And just to add a layer to that, I think with the main character, she's, throughout the game, you're constantly meeting new people. We're setting her in, we start with her familiar setting, her kind of role in society, and her kind of what's expected of her, and we kind of break free from that throughout the game as we meet different characters, and Rin kind of finds her own path and purpose, like Magnus spoke on. And I think that's really where the player also steps in and kind of forms those new relationships that Rin forms throughout the game, and really is an effector on those. I think what really heightens Rin as a character in the game is the performance by the excellent actress behind her, who is Aldis Amma Hamilton, who is absolutely phenomenal at portraying such an awesome character.
What's the hardest part of game development so far? I know you guys are still in the development, but what's been the most challenging?
The most challenging part of game development?
I think that's a different answer for every team.
Yes, I think that's a different answer for every game, and I think it even might be a different answer for every team member, depending on the different perspective that they have into the game development. I think for us, it's been vitally important to find the right people to work on the game. And that's a really difficult thing to do, finding the right people who you believe in and who are really passionate about making games like this. And we've been lucky enough to find the right people so far, and we have exceptionally talented people on board with us making this game. And I think while that is often from the outset it's an invisible part of game development, but it's absolutely essential and extremely difficult.
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned before that, Iceland's quite small. Does that mean that you guys kind of struggle to find that talent that's out there, or is it quite rich in terms of game development?
So, as usual, Iceland is excellent per capita. We're the best at everything per capita. And among those in the Nordics, we have the most developers per capita. That's not really a useful metric when you look at the fact that we're only like 300,000 people, basically a small fisher town someplace. But Iceland is completely unique in the way that CCP, another pretty well-known developer here in Iceland, kind of paved the way for all the other game developers here that are now thriving. We have a great educational infrastructure that pretty much covers all the different fields of game development here in Iceland. So we have exceptional talent coming out. And so I think, considering the size, we have great access to talent. And another part of it is that we've had a lot of Icelanders who got into game development early and moved to other countries and then moved back with a lot of experience helping new teams form and build games here. So while it's definitely a challenge to find people in a smaller nation, we're blessed by the fact that we do have exceptional talent here, and we have an educational system that is actively each year graduating new students who know game development.
What Haldor is saying is that we're a nation of nerds.
Yes. And like another per capita is that, I don't know, it's an incredibly high number of people in Iceland who play games at all ages.
Yep.
Like an insanely high number.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And, we've kind of mentioned what's the most difficult part about game development, but what are you most proud of up until this point?
That's, it's not, it's a difficult question to answer because there's so many things. I mean, making games is, it takes so many people to do so many things for it to go correctly. And I think what we're most proud of is that so far we seem to be doing it correctly with the great people. So I think what we're most proud of is the team and the progress that we made with this team.
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer in general. That just the talent we've collected around us and the friendships that have formed so strongly within this company.
Yeah.
I think that's invaluable and is what's going to drive it forward.
And then, finally, guys, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch Media and being part of their brand new label?
Dude,
That's
it's
a great
killer.
question. So obviously we touched on the part
really?
where we're kind of stuck in Iceland. So our outreach is
They're
quite limited
building a
on an
commercial
island in
reel.
the sea. No, but all jokes aside, the main benefit is that it's an extension of the team, and it's a great extension of the team.
Yeah.
We talk about the things that have been the most difficult, and that's building the team, and the things that we're most proud of, which is again the team that we built. And for us, Koch is a fantastic extension to the team. It's a publisher full of great people who are really passionate about games, and they're empowering us to deliver these games, worldwide. And I think that is anything a developer, an ambitious developer, could ask for in a publisher.
And we are absolutely glad to have you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and I cannot wait to give people more information about Echoes of the End.
It would have been nice to see something.
From one side of the globe all the way to the other. If you like the game Gothic and hardcore RPGs, The Last Oricru is just for you. I got to sit
Another
down with
one,
two of the guys
Scott.
from Gold Knights and
Keeps
talk all
going.
about them and their new game. Hello there, guys. Today I am joined by Gold Knights creative and game director Pavel Strnad and executive producer Vladimir Gershel to talk about their game, The Last Oricru.
Hi, Opal.
Hi, Opal.
So you guys make The Last Oricru. What is the game about?
It's an action RPG where I try to show the relativity of good and evil from different perspectives of living and breathing world.
So when you guys say
That was so
living and
read off
breathing,
like a paper
what do you
or
mean
something,
exactly?
dude.
It is important to understand that The Last Oricru is quite challenging and skill-based RPG, but compared to many other titles in this genre, our story does not take place in some dark and deadly realm. Waking up in a living and breathing sci-fi medieval world of Wardenia, players find themselves in the middle of war for supremacy over the whole planet.
There's something interesting about the war, as usually warriors of each side believe that they do the right thing, often fighting for survival and well-being of their people. So the idea of the game is to show the player the war and the euphoria of the winners, but also the misery of the losers, to make the player realize that the number of decisions he can make in the game will affect all the living beings in the world.
So you mentioned that you make choices during The Last Oricru. How impactful are they?
The impact is major. First of all, you are the one who decides which side will win the war. But there are many different roads through the game, and you can experience the whole game only after multiple playthroughs. I want to give every player his own experience and try not to push any moral code of what is wrong and what is right. Simply, you make the decision and actions, and based on that, individual characters have their own reactions. This creates different situations, so you can find your own friends and allies and play the way how you think it's right or fun.
Exactly. Each player can define their own path to side with different factions or betray them and influence
Scott,
the
I
future
gotta look.
of
I'm gonna
each
shrink our
race
view a
and
little
the-
bit here
and
just
the
quickly.
entire
I want to see
planet,
what some of the
basically.
comments are talking about
And it
here.
is
Foo
not done
Fighters.
just
Foo
by
Fighters,
few
absolutely not.
choices somewhere in
Question that.
dialogues
Payday,
or by
Call of
completing some
Duty. Dude,
quests,
they haven't even talked about
but your
Payday yet.
but by your continuous actions.
Do you think they
and
will, or do you
decisions.
think they
Let
just
me give you
they
an
let
example.
the trailer
in
kind
many
of speak?
scenarios, there you are asked to kill the general of
Good
13
question,
people.
man. I don't know.
And you can obviously
'Cause
refuse
they
doing
did
that, but
have
if
a
you
bit of a
decide to
teaser
kill
for
him,
Payday.
there are many possibilities
absolutely.
of what you can do with his
Yep.
head, which serves as a proof of his death. You can keep it and become hero, or you can
I don't know,
give
man.
it to the
This
queen
is dragging
and
a
come
little
closer
too
to her
long for
heart.
me.
Or you
It's
can
about
give it to
almost
another
2 hours
characters
now.
of
Yeah,
this conflict
a lot further than I
with,
thought it was going
with
to be.
different outcomes.
While I'm playing, guys,
I would have
if
gathered
I
a
decide to
second
be a
drink.
little bit mischievous and kind of go down the route of everyone hating me, what does that mean for me?
Yes, there is an option that you will try to do as much harm to do as many beings as possible, and there are some dark characters that will be pleased by that. However, cooperation with them may be eventually very painful for you. That's another interesting thing, that often there is some hidden party involved in many wars, which profits from both sides of the conflict and the conflict itself. So that's a bit of the hidden part in the game, which you can play, but it will be a little bit difficult to play.
So the game has co-op. Can a friend help me with the
That's
boss
co-op?
battles?
But we're
Can
not
we
going to see
play the
anything
whole
about the
entire
game again,
together?
Scott.
How does
Like, we're not going
this
to see
work?
any gameplay.
You know those lonely nights when you play games?
No,
which are so
it
exciting
seems
for
like they
you,
would have
but
led
it's
with
really
it.
sad that you cannot share that experience with anyone. That was generally the idea.
Yeah, there is a great demand for couch play in the whole third-person action RPG genre. So we are sure that for our future audience, the co-op is going to be one of the most, or the key features of our game. And that's why we went even farther. We have many situations what can be solved in co-op differently than in single player. So you can find new fun ways of how to kill some bosses, or solve some puzzles, or reach some special secret areas. But you know, at the end of the day, combat is bread and butter of an RPG. So if you, for example, play as a melee tank, while the second player plays a magic support, you will enjoy tens of awesome hours of shared fun.
Oh, wait, so you're telling me there's magic and melee? What does this mean for the combat of the game?
Well, the combat is targeted at more experienced players. I'm very much on the wave of recent challenging RPGs that are based on the skills of the player, timing and stamina. We are trying to build some interesting magic mechanism in the game that would let you use some more than block and fast attack buttons.
But, you know, don't forget that our world has sci-fi roots. So what is for someone magic can be for more developed culture or technology.
But be prepared to die.
A lot.
Like a lot. Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
And finally, guys, I just want to ask you, what does it mean to be under Koch Media's brand new label?
There it is again.
Honestly, it was the best step we could do in our game development. It helped us to dramatically increase the capacity of our development team and focus primarily on the game itself. And yet, we still have the full creative control over the game, and all the feedback we are getting is really helping us to make better games. So far, it was the best decision ever.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that I could use my long-standing experience with big publishing houses and restructure the game and the team to shape which was the right fit for such a strong partner as a Koch Media. From the very beginning of our cooperation with Pavel, we were thinking big and aiming at building a really memorable new game franchise. And being part of the starting portfolio of a brand
there's Payday 3
label gives us a great opportunity to fully achieve it.
It's got to end after that, right?
Thank you so much, Pavel and Vladimir, for your time. It's been
would
awesome
think so,
talking
just
to you
because it's
about everything the
probably
Lost
the
Ark crew,
center of
and
the
I
hype.
just can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
We teased it in the sizzle, and now let's hear from our friends at Starbreeze to talk about Payday 2, Payday 3, and their upcoming cooperation with Prime Matter.
Thank you, Jeff, and hi, everyone. We're excited to be here, excited to talk about Payday, and excited to be working with Prime Matter. At Starbreeze, we see Payday as
I almost said, tell me why you're so
bank
excited to
robbery
work with them.
Inspired by classic heist movies.
I guess I did say it.
Adrenaline-fueled gameplay where you get to experience the thrill of being on the wrong side of the law with a smart plan and a gun in your hand. This is what we've been doing since the original game, Payday the Heist, through the sequel, Payday 2, to the upcoming Payday 3. And our ever-growing player community, our heisters, continue to be an inspiration for us in everything we do, pushing us to make the best Payday possible.
I want in. Dude, I want in. They must have taken some inspiration from GTA. They had to.
Yeah.
That's so loud.
I think so. That is
The
much
world of
louder than
Payday
everything.
is an exaggerated reflection of reality where
I haven't
order
played
is
any
kept
Payday.
by the long arm of the law.
Oh, hang on.
At least until the heisters turn this order into chaos, giving the law the middle finger. That's when adrenaline truly kicks in and the outnumbered gang keeps beating the odds, often escaping with the cash in a hail of bullets. The Payday universe has an ongoing narrative that has been created over the years. The gang has built a reputation by going after the highest profile targets, setting up some of the craziest heist plans, and going up against some of the most powerful of enemies. And through all of this, the gang keeps coming out on top. In their exploits, the gang has become, as they call it, the tightest crew ever. The wider criminal underworld of Payday lives its own life, where movers and shakers want a piece of the action, or a piece of the Payday gang. In the gang's life of crime, they are way past the point of no return. And as we look ahead for what's to come, the gang will learn that there's no rest for the wicked.
Dude, I'm pretty excited. Of course he's the best. He's got to be it.
This
Oh,
legacy
dang.
is something that we treasure and
yeah.
now build on,
I forget his
expanding
name.
this epic story, taking it all with us.
He's
into the
a
future
star of Far Cry
Payday.
6.
Many millions of players
Esposito.
have enjoyed Payday so far.
Oh,
it's been an
okay.
amazing journey for us at Starbreeze.
Is that the same guy
On
from
Steam,
Breaking Bad?
Payday 2 has the biggest
Pollos
community of
Hermanos?
any game.
Maybe, I don't know.
This truly means the world to us.
I haven't watched
Payday turns
that,
10
believe
this
it or not.
year, but
I missed
we're
out.
only getting started.
I know.
Good
With
news.
our team hard at work, cooperation
Good
with
show.
Prime Networks and other partners, and above all, a fantastic player community, we are looking to the future with great anticipation.
I'm rich. It's payday, fellas.
The release of Payday 3 is years away, but we could finish off today with a sneak peek of what we're working on. A taste of things to come.
Dude, this is how they should have done the entire event. Payday 3, no time soon, man.
It's just a still image.
That's all it is.
Well, there you have it. Quite a lineup. And Opal, I know we're going to be hearing much more from Prime
He
Matter
said it was
in
a
the
teaser,
weeks and months
but
ahead.
come on!
That's a great question, Jeff. Prime Matter will be taking a huge leap into the streaming world. From June the 14th, we'll be streaming 3 times a week, every week, providing you guys with gameplay content, achievement and trophy
I
hunting
can't even commit to
streams,
that.
as well as Dungeons and Dragons.
Dude, we do it every day. We stream every day.
Cooking streams.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
We also want to get our developers involved and have it so that you guys get to know.
Dude, we have a
our
daily
version
show. We stream it
True.
every day.
It's been 5 times a week for
3
several
months
weeks now.
It's been like 3 months.
Jeff can help us out too.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see what Prime Matter has for us in the future. Thanks for announcing with us yesterday at Summer Game Fest, and I look forward to being back with you again later this summer.
No worries, Jeff, and thank you for your time. It's been awesome hosting with you, and I can't
All
wait
right,
to
Jeff
more in
Keighley,
the
what are you
future.
showing up in
And
next?
thanks to you guys watching, to the streamers.
I
who are
have a
both streaming,
surprise
to our
message
new
from Hideo
gamers
Kojima.
Who are looking forward to the titles that we've shown you
Metal
today.
Gear Solid.
We
Dun,
are
dun,
Joining
dun.
us on stage, we have Kurt Russell and
unique,
Norman
honest
Reedus.
content for you guys. So, stay safe, stay cool, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.
All right, that's it, man. That was a long showcase. A lot longer than what
Hey,
it
they-
probably should have
We
been.
have
but-
7 minutes to go. What gives?
We're not done. Oh, man. Dude, we are done, as we will be back tomorrow as we have a lot more in store for yet. E3, Ubisoft kicking things off tomorrow, dude. I'm pumped. Until then, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.